So I've been using the Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus 5G to test how reliable and good it is. And when I first saw the price starting at 1699 Malaysia ringgit, honestly I didn't expect this level of hardware. You get 200 megapixel camera, 6500 mAh battery, 100 watt charging, a 1.5K AMOLED display with 3200 nits. So on paper, it sounds very aggressive, but after actually living with it, testing it, pushing it, I finally understand what this phone really represents. So let's talk about it.
I swore I'd block your number for good, but here you are texting me you up. I know exactly where this is, on your side of the bed at 3 AM. I tell myself don't fall this time, but you...
So the first thing that I noticed when I pick it up is how solid this thing actually feels. It's around 207 grams, so it has some weight to it, but in a very reassuring way. The whole frame that you get here is a reinforced aluminum alloy, and the back here uses a ultra tough fiberglass material that doesn't feel cheap at all. It also comes with some like faux leather kind of design, which is really nice. After a few days of carrying this around without really babying it too much, I started to appreciate the durability focus. And this thing has a lot of IP ratings as well. You get IP66, IP68, IP69, even IP69K. This means that Redmi actually tested this in a whole bunch of scenarios, and it's not just for splashes but for immersion, high pressure water spray, and on top of that it's also certified for 2.5 meter drop resistant, crush resistant, and it's also bending resistant. This thing is hard. The front here, you're gonna get Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and I didn't intentionally drop it, of course. Knowing that this is built like this changes how confidently I will use this phone, and I wasn't constantly worrying about it. And when I started using this outdoors, the display became one of my favorite things about this phone. First, it's a 6.83-inch Crystal Res AMOLED panel with 1.5K resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. Of course, you can't see it here because of the frame rate of my camera, but scrolling here is ultra smooth. The animations here, everything feels very smooth and everything just looks really sharp. But what really impressed me was the brightness. You get 3200 nits peak brightness, which actually makes a difference. So you can see here that I have my very bright studio light shining here, and I'm gonna just put it to maximum brightness. And you can actually see even with this bright light here, it's still overexposing, which is quite insane. So if you use this under harsh sunlight, I can still clearly see what I want to see on the screen. And if you enjoy HDR content, whether on Netflix or YouTube, it comes with Dolby Vision and HDR10+. So the support here is very immersive. The blacks are deep, colors are rich, but not overly exaggerated, which I really like on this kind of phone. So for 1699 Malaysia ringgit, this display feels almost overqualified. So in a daily usage perspective, this comes with a Snapdragon 7S Gen 4, which feels really stable and efficient. I'm really not chasing benchmark scores here, and I really care about smoothness and overall operation and usefulness. So whether you're opening apps, switching between your social medias, editing photos, or even casual gaming, this thing handles everything without hiccups. And the 12GB of RAM definitely helps with multitasking, and I rarely felt that the apps are refreshing in the background. So storage options here come with 256GB or 512GB, which is very generous. And I did see that in Malaysia, you do get some free upgrades from 256 to 512, so check out my links below. So the version I got here is the 512GB version, and it really feels very nice and no constraint. It uses LPDDR4X RAM and UFS 2.2 storage, which may not be the newest standards, but in real usage, performance feels responsive. I also paid attention to thermals because Xiaomi uses this ice loop cooling system and this large 5200mm squared cooling area. It doesn't really heat up aggressively during long gaming session or 4K recording, and it also stays very controlled, which ultimately translates to more consistent performance. And as a daily driver, it really does work. You get 5G connection and it has been stable. Wi-Fi 6E performance is also very solid, and Bluetooth 5.4 connects quickly to all my earbuds. The in-display fingerprint scanner is fast and accurate, and face unlock is convenient for quick access. HyperOS 2 feels very smooth, and the animations here overall is very clean. The transitions are fluid, and the AI features feels integrated rather than forced. Of course, with Google Gemini as the backbone for the AI in this phone, you're getting a very strong performer here. And after a few days, I stopped really thinking about the software and just really using the phone. And to me, that's really a good sign. Okay, so battery life is also something very interesting because this phone is very impressive. 6500 mAh is pretty massive, and Xiaomi claims 20 hours of video playback. And from my own test, mixed usage test, I managed 21.5 hours, which is longer than their rated battery life. And for me, that's not really light usage, and when I test my video, I always put it at full resolution at full brightness for the phone. And you also mix in with some video streaming, browsing, texting, some gaming, and mainly binge watching videos. This thing is quite a beast. For most days, I think you will end the day with good amount of battery left, and it gives you peace of mind. You really stop worrying about battery percentage constantly and just becomes something normal for you. And when I really need to charge it, 100 watts hypercharge made a noticeable difference, and it also comes in the box for you. So plugging it in for a short period of time already gives you a substantial amount of top up. This phone also supports 22.5 watts reverse charging, and I actually use it to charge my earbuds. Small detail, but very useful. So now let's talk about the camera, because this is where I spend most of my testing time. The main camera is a 200 megapixel sensor with a large 1/1.4 inch size sensor with a f1.7 aperture. But what matters more than the megapixel number is how it performs. So in good lighting, details is excellent. I took shots of buildings, trees, texture surface, and when I zoomed in, the clarity held up very well, and you can crop aggressively and still retain a lot of usable detail. What I like here is the colors look very natural as well. They're not overly saturated, not too flat as well, and dynamic range is very strong, especially in scenes with bright skies and darker foregrounds. In low light, I was curious how it would handle night shots as well, but thanks to pixel binning technology that combines 16 pixels into one, it captures more light. So night photos came out bright and usable without looking artificial. Noise is well controlled, and OIS also helps stabilize image and videos. It's not ultra flagship level of night photography, but for the price, it performs very well. From a video standpoint, you get video recording up to 4K at 30 frames per second, and I tested handheld clips as well, and stabilization is decent enough for casual vlogging. To get 60 frames per second, you need to film at 1080p, which is not so cool because sometimes you want 4K at 60, but you don't have that here. And the 8 megapixel ultra wide camera is more basic. It's useful for landscape and group shots, but clearly not the star of this system. Still, color consistency between the lenses are very decent. So the 32 megapixel front camera does surprise me a little bit because selfies here definitely look sharp with pleasant skin tone. It doesn't aggressively beautify, which I personally prefer, and for social media content and video calls, it's more than capable. Overall, the main 200 megapixel sensor carries the camera experience, and for the price, I think most users will be very satisfied. So the dual speaker setup, one at the top over here and one at the bottom with Dolby support, definitely delivers clear audio. Well, if you watch YouTube and Netflix, and well, you're still gonna get a very nice and immersive experience with decent stereo separation. It does get loud without distortion. Of course, it's not a replacement for a dedicated speaker, but for your daily media consumption, it performs really well. And after using the Redmi Note 15 Pro Plus 5G, which is a really mouthful, as my daily driver for a while, what stands out is how balanced it feels. You get strong battery life, bright and sharp display, solid durability, smooth performance, and a very capable main camera. And for the price it is asking for, it doesn't just look good on spec sheet, it also translates very well in the real world usage. It may not try to compete with ultra flagship phones year after year in every category, but honestly, as a mid-range smartphone, this is extremely worth considering. And honestly, sometimes that's exactly what most people need. If you enjoyed this video, do subscribe to the channel and like this video. And if you want more reviews, check out these videos up here.